Hi everyone, my name is DM and welcome back to my channel. Have you ever looked into backdrops for product photography and looked online and saw how crazy expensive it is? Because I just did that and I was like blown away. Right now I'm like strictly pinching pennies and I just don't feel like I can shell out that much money for backdrops. So I thought, let's DIY it. Like I can totally help you make this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with buying online. I just cannot afford it currently. So I thought, maybe other people might want a tutorial on how to do this themselves. So stick around to the end and I will show you what worked, what didn't work, what I spent on everything, and how I troubleshot things.
Okay, so I'm at Lowe's right now and I'm going to get some lumber, paint brushes, and a tarp, and hopefully anything else that I need. Let's go!
Okay, boom. The lumber I'm looking for right in the front. How easy is that? I spent a lot of time in this paint section because I wanted to be thoughtful about what colors I picked. And then this is where I got my primer, so I ended up going for the $11 one.
The lighting is so good in here.
Okay, so we made it to the lumber aisle and look how massive this place is. It's so much wood. And then right here we have all the hardwood, so there's so many different types of thicknesses. I went for the thinnest that they had and it was around like $8-9. They had 10% off, so I ended up getting it for just about $8. Okay, and then this option, it's a chalkboard / whiteboard, and it's already painted, so I thought that could be a cool option for people who don't have access to paint or can't buy paint at the moment. So these were about $10 each. Okay, here's what you're gonna need: matte paint, paint primer, sandpaper, foam roller, mini roller tray, foam roller replacements, and satin paint samples. So this is everything that you're gonna need, bare minimum. And what you'll also need: hardwood, I went with the 2x2, and a tarp. And for the first color, I picked a satin called Beloved by Valspar. And this is the first color that caught my eye and I thought it was amazing. It's called Pumpkin Butter. This one is definitely fun. It's super punchy and it's called Fiesta Blue. And this is my favorite of the bunch. It's called Blaze Orange. It's so in your face and that represents me. And I'm back. So here I am, just taking out the tarp. It fit perfectly in my dining room. And so right here I was like, okay, let me sand down these edges. Didn't want any splinters, and I felt like in the end result it did help a lot more. And I'm vacuuming because you don't want all those splinters in my knees and my legs. Okay, I had to take a break. This is like one of the hottest days in LA right now. So here I am, I'm doing the first coat of primer, pouring in a little more. I wanted to do a primer coat because it just made the colors pop more. Also, like, it's just easier to start with white because the brown in the wood could easily shift the color of the paint. And here I'm working on the second coat. It's such a hot day today, so these coats are drying super fast. So here I'm starting with the color. So I was loving how this orange color was looking. And this is the second coat. Okay, this is how I was removing the roller heads. Wax paper! This was my MVP. And I'm starting here on the yellowish color. Actually, both of these are orange. Orange is my favorite color, so it just made so much sense to pick those. But this one swayed more yellow and the other swayed more red. So for these colors, I wanted them to be way more cool. And replacing in the roller, and we're doing the purple. Right here, I'm getting so uncomfortable. It's so hot. I'm sweating. My back is breaking.
And so I'm taking one of the roller heads back out because I need to do some touch-ups. You can see the blue blood over.
So keep in mind which color you pick for each side. So I did the cool colors on one side and then the warm on the other side, just so that when I'm using them, they can complement each other. All this means is that I won't be able to use the blue and the red together or the yellow and the purple together, which is totally fine. I thought they would clash anyway. So here's me setting up. I didn't use any type of lighting besides daylight, just to show how accessible this is. So all of these photos I haven't edited or anything, so it's just how they looked in daylight. Look at this color match for Beloved. Like, it looks so good. It's super muted, super pretty, feels very calming. Exactly what I was looking for. Pumpkin butter. Look how pretty that is. I love that. I'm so glad it turned out great. Look at this. We are 3 for 3. Valspar was killing it. Fiesta Blue looks amazing. It's a knockout. It's an awesome, cool color. 10 out of 10. 10s, 10s, 10s across the board, okay? I am so glad I got these colors. It complements yellow so well. Come on, Blaze Orange. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, here we are with the price breakdown. So lumber around $16, paint around $30, supplies around $35, and you know, the elbow grease was priceless. So this comes to a grand total of $81.84. Less than $100 for all of this, which is less than the big name brand backdrops. Be mindful that all of these are California prices, so things are automatically way more expensive. But if you guys can get these prices even lower, definitely tag me. I would love to see that. I want to see your versions.
Thank you for sticking around. How did you like it? Okay, so I thought that I was gonna run into way more issues than I actually did, but it all turned out a-okay. I feel like the results were everything that I wanted. I felt like I kept it budget friendly. There weren't too many things that I felt like I could have done differently, but I do wish that I kind of didn't buy so many of these mini roller trays. Honestly, I might need them in the future. I didn't break the bank, they were only $1, so I think it's all okay, all things considering. But I felt like the setup was gonna be the hardest part of the whole thing. So I started at the hardware store. I had no issues in there. it was funny because, like, I don't know, that store is so big and daunting, so I understand how kind of scary it could be being in there. So I wanted to empower people to be able to go into those stores and ask around. Like, I'm not familiar with hardware stores. I go in for like batteries, small things here and there, usually in the garden department, you know, but nothing pertaining to lumber or anything like that. Luckily, the wood that I found, the birch wood, was 10% off. It was right in the front, so I didn't have to go through the long corridors of just all this lumber towering over me. So right there, right in front of me, so I got to pick out which ones I wanted, so that was simple. Also, a really cool tip that I can give you, and something that I was able to do, is if you go on your phone and you go on their website of whatever hardware store you're in. I know the two major ones, so I went to Lowe's, and I know Home Depot does it too. But you type in what you need and what you're looking for, and then you press what store you're in, and it will show you the aisle and the area in the aisle of where the product that you're looking for is. And so I thought that was so cool. You don't really have to talk to anybody. I totally understand that that's very anxiety inducing, so I got you there. So for this setup, like putting down the tarp, so I just moved all the stuff out of my little dining nook and I was able to paint. Of course, I decided to do this on like the hottest weekend in LA, so I was sweating, so I had my fan going, and I think that combination of the air circulating, all my windows open, the heat, it caused the paint to dry way quicker. I know for the primer, they said to wait 60 minutes between each coat for them to dry, but that stuff, you could tell it was drying instantly. So I was able to get through, but I felt like that whole process of painting the wood was like the longest. I didn't want to jam pack a whole day of going shopping, doing the hard labor, and then doing the setup and the little test photography. I didn't want to do that all in one day. I knew that was going to do too much, so I spread it out over the weekend. On Friday, I went shopping. Saturday, I did the actual labor. On Sunday, I set up, and then I shot everything. And so I think that gave me enough time to figure out what I wanted to do, what was looking good, what I needed to do. One thing that I did when it came to painting that I was doing, so I was just pouring the samples onto the wood, like in the center. So it's better just to start in the center and then make your way out, because I was just kind of like squeegeeing it across and it was spilling over the end. And when it was spilling over the end, it was going underneath as well. So I did have to do little touch-ups only on one board. But once I figured that out, for the second board, I didn't have any spillage, so it all ended up working out a-okay. So I may have overbought on the trays, but I did not overbuy on the little rolly fuzzy thingies. I had a bunch of wax paper laying around, so I just was pulling up sheets of wax paper and grabbing it and then pulling it out. And it made it so much easier. I wasn't getting the latex paint on me. I'm actually allergic to latex, so I didn't want that on my skin anyway. And then it says on the side of the paint canister, don't have any contact with your eyes and your skin, which totally makes sense. Yeah, wax paper ended up being the MVP, so that I didn't have to get all messy. So I would wrap it up and I'd like roll it into these like little Tootsie Rolls. And if I needed them later, I could unroll them and they're still a little moist. So I would just put them back into the paint and then do a little touch up here and there. And it worked out. I think the setup was, in theory and in my mind, the scariest part, but in practice, it ended up being the easiest. So I took my $30 coffee table, shoved it up against the wall, put one board down below, one up top, and that was the scariest part. I thought that the top one wouldn't lay flush to the bottom, and I thought it was gonna fall. I thought all these other things. I thought it was gonna look crazy in the photos. Had no issues there. I at least thought that I was gonna have to use museum putty to hold it up, or some like clips to hold it up, but it ended up turning out totally fine. So I was like, oh, that was the easiest setup. So I think in the grand scheme of things, I think that was the coolest thing about it. So I think in the future, if I want to do a quick little shoot with product, that setup is just gonna be like this. It's gonna be so simple, and I think at the end of the day, doing this yourself, doing a DIY, it should make things easier, especially when you're using them in the future. It should make things completely easy. So I did run into other issues, mostly with my camera. I'm not a videographer, so I was having so many issues with the lighting, grainy texture, things just being filmed very tiny and having to blow up, and the quality was like reduced, and I was like, why can I not figure this out? So I did have to refilm a few things, which is totally fine. I want to bring out the best product that I can. I want to show it in the best way that I can, but I'm just learning. I'm just a baby. Like, I get it. I'm so new to this, and so thank you for watching through this. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Any questions for future videos, totally let me know. And also hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so that you can be alerted of my next video, which will be so much fun. And also like this video. If you liked it, please like, and that'll help me out so much. Thank you so much for being here with me. I had a lot of fun doing this. Bye! I'll see you next time.